Restoration Shaman is one of my favourite healers, and I would say one of the easiest to learn. This is a beginner guide with no information overload, patch 10.2, which is season 3, Dragonflight Guardians of the Dream. The goal here of this video is to help you succeed in achieving, starting from and then up to, ahead of the curve in heroic raiding and Keystone Master for Mythic Plus. If you were looking at Mythic raiding or doing keys above 20, then this is going to give you a really solid groundwork that you're going to need. And then when you get to that point, you're going to be really comfortable reaching to the next level. First up, let's look at the stat priority for a Restoration Shaman. This one is pretty standard and very easy. I like to always look at my stat priorities in a sort of pyramid style. So at the bottom, with the biggest part, that's what you want to get as much as you can of, and then going up, you want less and less. With the Resto Shaman, it really doesn't matter with Verse and Crit. They are pretty much at the same level. And then after that, you're going to want Mastery, and then after that, the least one you're going to want is Haste. Of course, as a beginner, don't worry too much about this. If it's an eye level upgrade with Intellect, then just go for that and don't worry too much. Now we're going to look at talents. Now, the talent build that I am showing here is a very standard talent build that I think is going to be very easy and rounded for both Mythic Plus and raiding for you. So it's not 100% tailored to either one, and you can optimize this further. However, if you do, which may impact getting a bit more healing out, it does mean that there's also a higher learning curve, which if you are a beginner, you could end up overall doing less healing. So this build is really, really good for learning and entry level Mythic Plus and raiding. And honestly, you're going to be absolutely fine using this build. I will put an import string down below. I'm not going to go through every single individual talent because again, that could be information overload for you. But I do recommend after this video, or once you've practiced a bit, maybe looking through some of them just to see how things tie together. Now we're going to look at Restoration Shaman's cooldowns and utilities. Now, it does have quite a lot of cooldowns, so stay with me here. First, we're going to be looking at defensive cooldowns up at the top here. This bottom row is more of kind of utility raid-wide cooldowns, and there's going to be a few healing-specific ones. So to start off with, we've got Astral Shift. This is going to reduce your damage taken, so not by the raid or party, but your personal damage. It's going to reduce that by 40%. It's a very simple defensive. Then we have Ascendance. This is you transform into a literal ascendant, and you're going to be doing more healing from your healing spells that is going to be then split across the party or raid that you're in. Then we have Nature's Swiftness. Basically, you press the button for Nature's Swiftness, and your next nature damaging or healing spell is going to be instant cast. Okay, so if you're in a bit of an emergency and need to get that spell out quick, you can just pop that button and get an instant spell out. Then, of course, we've got Bloodlust if you are Horde, or Heroism if you're Alliance, which of course increases the party's haste by 30%. Pretty sure most people know that Shamans have this, but just a little reminder in case you forgot. And then we've got a really interesting one. So if you don't know Shamans at all, their core kind of concept is that they use a lot of totems. And I'm going to be showing you these when we look at the sort of rotation as it is for healing. So one of the big cooldowns you have is Spirit Link Totem. This is going to be causing raid-wide damage reduction and health redistribution. So it redistributes the health of people when they take damage over the raid to kind of even it out so that people don't die off, basically, which of course is the goal of healing. Then we've got these two cooldowns. One is Healing Tide Totem. And to put it simply, this you just plonk out and it's just going to do a huge ton of healing. It's just going to heal, heal, heal. It pulses because healing is restoration, all that water. It's really, the fantasy around it is actually really, really nice with Shamans, with the chain healing of all the water going off. And this Healing Tide Totem pulses these big healing kind of waves out, and it's your big heal across the party. One thing I will also say is when you're outside of a raid, so in a 5-man group, this will do 100% more healing. Then we have Ancestral Guidance. 25% of your healing is also going to be redirected to your nearby allies as well. So those are the cooldowns that you have. There are a few other little things. I would always say look through at the other totems, etc. you've got in the spellbook, but these are the main ones you're going to be using. Then let's look at the actual utilities you have at your disposal. Shamans have some of my favourite utilities ever. First one being Ghost Wolf. And of course, all classes have some sort of speed boost. Do you know what though? Shaman really does take the biscuit, as they say. It's a 40% movement speed increase forever. You transform into a literal Ghost Wolf, and it works in combat as well, which is insane. Next up, we've got Hex, and you can actually get different Hex forms. And this is basically going to transform them, into a bug or a skeleton thing, etc. And it's going to incapacitate them for a whole minute. Then you've got Wind Shear, which is your kick or interrupt, as it's otherwise known. And then we have Water Walking, which you probably won't be using as much, but this is a really great one for when you want to walk on water, funnily enough. Lastly, now we're actually in game here, let's look at how to actually play a Restoration Shaman. The first thing that you're going to want to do at all times is have your shields up. Now, there are two shields that you're going to be using most of the time. This is this one here, down here, Water Shield and Earth Shield. So the way this works is you as a shaman can have two shields on you personally at once. And you can see here above my weak aura here, you can see both the water and the earth one going around, and these are your shields. So like I said, you can have two on you as a shaman at all times, and then you can have one on somebody else. So we're going to put Earth Shield on yourself and the tank, and then you're also going to have Water Shield on yourself. So to recap, basically Earth Shield on you and the tank at all times, and Water Shield on yourself. You cannot put Earth Shield on a DPS in the tank. One of them has to be you. As we spoke about totems, there is this one here that I've got bound to see, and it's called Healing Stream Totem. You're going to have two charges of this, and if I put some down here, you can see they go on the floor, and these are going to periodically heal everyone around you, and you want to use both charges of these on cooldown. These should always be up. It's basically free and passive healing for you. The next spell we're going to be looking at is Riptide. This is going to heal them, a single target heal that's instant, and then it's going to do a hot or heal over time for 21 seconds after that. I have this always to my middle click, and you can see here, that's what it looks like, and we have two charges of that. You're going to want to use that because it's instant, and it's a hot. It's very good and efficient. You're going to want to use that as much as you can with both charges whenever somebody is injured. The next one we have is this one here, and this is Healing Rain. This, over 10 seconds, is going to heal up to 6 allies, and it's an AoE. So, as you can see here, it's placeable. We can place it down, and anyone in this kind of rain circle, up to 6 allies, are going to be healed. So when people are grouped up, this is a really fantastic AoE heal, and you should be using this quite regularly as well. Now we're going to look at some spells that actually work in pairs together, and this is going to be a single target and a multi-target heal. So the first one we've got down here is Chain Heal. This is going to heal the friendly target, and then it's going to jump up to 30 yards to heal the 4 most injured allies, and it's reduced by 30% with each jump. Now, while this is a fantastic multi-target heal, and you can see it jumping really far across my garrison here, we want to actually use this with this one underneath, which is Unleash Life. Now you can see here, this has a 15-second cooldown, and it does different things depending on what spell you're using with. So we're going to use it like that, and it's ready to go. You can see here my weak aura, it's ready to go. We're going to use it with Chain Heal, and you can see on the tooltip here, when you use it with Chain Heal, it's going to do 15% increased healing, and your Chain Heal is going to bounce to 1 additional target. I always advise to use Chain Heal with Unleash Life. You can still use Chain Heal without Unleash Life, but use your Unleash Life always with your Chain Heal is what I say. The next one is going to be Healing Wave. This is a very efficient single target heal, and we can use this with Primordial Wave. So what Primordial Wave does, again, this is on a 30-second cooldown. It's going to blast your target, healing them, and apply Riptide. Remember, Riptide is the one that does a single target heal and a heal over time. And then, after your Primordial Wave has done that, it's also going to make your next Healing Wave hit all targets that are currently affected by your Riptide for another 40% of normal healing. So you use the Primordial Wave and then use your Healing Wave. Healing Wave is a very efficient single target heal. Another one you can use that is not so efficient, and we're going to be using for emergency healing, is Healing Surge. It's a single target heal. It's a lot more powerful, and it costs a lot more mana. You can see here this is 12,000 mana, whereas Healing Wave is 7,500. So Healing Surge is going to be your emergency single target heal. Don't be scared to use it, but it is more for kind of really when you need a lot of healing. If, and I do say if, because please don't worry about this as a healer, unless you really do have time, is DPS. And simply, I would say use Lightning Bolt for single target, Chain Lightning for multi-target, and that's as far as you need to really go with that as a beginner. Let's just recap the spells that you're going to be using as a Restoration Shaman. So, again, Water Shield on yourself at all times, Earth Shield on you and the tank at all times, Healing Stream Totem, both charges, use these consistently, Riptide, which is the single target and then heal over time, again, use that pretty much on cooldown. Healing Rain, always use that for group healing on the floor, very efficient, and it's basically passive once you've placed it. Then we're going to use Unleash Life with our chain heals, and then chain heals whenever we need to do group healing across the group. And then Primordial Wave and Healing Wave together as well for an efficient single target heal, DPS, single target Lightning Bolt, multi-target Chain Lightning. And then don't forget about your Healing Tide Totem, which looks like this, and your other cooldowns that we went through before. And that is how you play a Restoration Shaman. I really hope that wasn't too much information overload. If you're new to healing, I'll be honest, it's a lot more overwhelming than DPS is. But you know what? Before you go into Mythic Plus, maybe even just do some heroic dungeons. That's what I do, and I play pretty much all the healers. I do some heroic dungeons if I'm new to the spec, and then I'll do some really, really low Mythic Plus that I know is going to be almost too easy for me, just to get into that rhythm of how the spec and class works. And if you are practicing like that, don't be scared to use those cooldowns when they're not as needed, just to get into the kind of feeling of how much they really heal and how useful they can be, etc. If you liked this video, please don't forget to let me know in the comments, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I am doing quite a lot of class guides, so again, make sure you subscribe in case there are other specializations or class guides that you may be interested in.